just there. Brian, how are things with you?
Hi lads, how you doing?
We're not so bad. I suppose we want to just jump straight into the minor final this weekend. I'm sure you'd know plenty of the lads from St. Kieran's. Number one, what's the excitement levels like around Kilkenny, and what are you looking forward to seeing in this game?
Yeah, there was a great pose in Kilkenny. I think the two semi-finals were absolutely cracking games. Obviously, both of them going to extra time was really exciting. Yeah, look, I know a lot of the lads are in St. Kieran's College there, so a few of them are on our senior panel this year, and a good few will be on the panel next year. So really excited for the lads now on Saturday. Obviously, we're playing Tipperary. Anything to play Tip, it's always a great battle. So look, hopefully the lads get over the line. I suppose they're so young. Some of them are 15, 16 years of age playing in a big final. There's a lot of pressure on, but look, I think the minor this year has been really wide open. The games have been up and down. You know, Kilkenny lost 2 games there in a row, and Leinster looked like things were falling apart. But in fairness to Niall Bergman and the lads, they got it back on track. So looking forward to the game. I think Kilkenny are really doing a lot of pushing on social media there to try to get a big crowd. We're hoping for the Offaly crowd that they had there during their 20 final. So I think everyone wants that kind of a crowd behind their team now. So look, hopefully it'll be exciting and there'll be a big crowd there on Saturday evening.
Just Brian, the spine of your team, by all accounts, they're nearly all underage next year. I think is there 8 of them: Larry Phelan, Jake Mullen, Kevin Buggy, Oisin Henderson, Conor Hoolan, Ollie O'Donovan, Owen Brennan, all underage next year. Like that's a great sign, because they are all like nearly all your leading men.
Yeah, they are, and they're brilliant hurlers, I suppose. And the big thing as well is Bill McDermott is the only survivor from last year's team, which I think is even more impressive. You know, Niall Bergman be a very good friend of mine. He's done brilliant work over the last few years. I would have been disappointed losing to the semi-final last year against Clare, but unfortunately Ed McDermott got sent off after 10 minutes and it was a massive blow. So the turnaround they've had this year is brilliant. I think the aim for the lads was to win that Leinster final was massive. You know, Kilkenny haven't had much underage silverware like we had in the past, so it was important to get some silverware under the belts and then push on then for the All-Ireland. And look, they're there now, and it is a very good Tip team, so they have a big battle ahead on Saturday night.
Hey, you mentioned Bill McDermott. Bill McDermott has a chance to... it must be a rare piece of history, because his father, James, captained Kilkenny to win the All-Ireland in 1990, and he'd be doing so 34 years there. I can't think offhand of another father and son that have done it anyway.
No, geez, that'd be unbelievable. I was actually in with James yesterday. He's my dentist, so look, he's you can't get a word in with that man anyway. His needle stuck into your mouth, so he's full of slagging. So no, look, that's unbelievable. Obviously, it'd be an unbelievable achievement, father and son, to captain Kilkenny teams to victory. So look, Bill is a great lad. He's in St. Kieran's. He came on there for the All-Ireland final. In just before normal time, he got a brilliant point for us against Rayfields and Loughrea in the final in March. It turns out, just when he found out afterwards, he actually had glandular fever in that match. We didn't know, so it kind of set him back for a few weeks after, and he's after responding really well now. He got 3 brilliant points the last day, so I look delighted for him. He's a great young lad.
How did you pull that stroke of getting this home minor final?
Actually, you're not good at tossing the coin, I suppose. That's the problem.
It's like Boisty's coin and Only Fools and Horses, a double-headed coin.
Exactly,
make sure you call it first. Don't let them call it.
Exactly. Actually, look, you'll have it there next year anyway. So we will head up to you next year.
Sure. Did you see this happen in terms of like Niall Bergen's path in coaching? Did you see getting involved at the county at some point?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Look, Niall was always into coaching in the club. He from a young age he was getting involved. You know, I think he was only 28, 29 that he got involved with. He won the first big thing for him, I suppose, was winning the All-Ireland Féile under 14 with O'Loughlin's. You know, that was a brilliant win. The only time we've ever won the Féile in O'Loughlin. So that was a great victory. And then, look, he would have managed O'Loughlin's under 16 minor. He managed O'Loughlin seniors there for a couple of years. So, look, he's a lot of experience. He managed Danesfort to intermediate county final 2 years ago as well. So, look, he's absolutely brilliant. He was juvenile chairman there in O'Loughlin's for a couple of years, and he was absolutely superb at it. He was the one, I suppose, roped me into getting involved in the underage in O'Loughlin's. Look, thankfully he did, but look, he's just a great organizer. He's big into it, and you know, I think he hopefully get his rewards now on Saturday night.
Just jump back a small bit, Brian. We should have congratulated you first. Obviously, we're in with Kildare this year, your first year in. Job done. I know chatting to you before it all started. That was the main goal for the start of the year. So you must be delighted. There was no real speed bumps along the way. It was you did it pretty well.
Yeah, look, I suppose when I got the job, it was simple. You win the Christy Ring and you get back up to the Joe McDonagh. That was the was the message. You know, that was what we wanted. That's what the players wanted, management wanted, the county board wanted. So yeah, look, we won all our group games and then won the final. I suppose Derry gave us 2 very good games. We had to really perform well against them. We went over to London there as well. That wasn't easy. We were kind of through already, but still, you know, they put up a massive battle against us there. But no, look, we got the job done. We're back in the Joe McDonagh next year. That's where the players feel they should be. But look, you have to earn your right up there. I suppose Kildare have never won a game in Joe McDonagh. They've won every Christy Ring game the last couple of years, but haven't won a Joe McDonagh game. So the big thing now is to build on it, stay up there. It's kind of like the Westmeath, Carlow, Laois at the opposite side of it. When they go up to the Lee McCarthy, they're not staying up there. So Kildare are the same. We're not staying up in the Joe McDonagh. So unless you're not going to improve or progress unless you stay up there. So look, they're a very good bunch of lads up there. So hopefully next year now we can really drive it on. Look, it's very competitive. You can see all the teams. I see Carlow draw Kilkenny, and now they're back down in Joe McDonagh. So look, that's what you're up against. But look, you have to meet these challenges head on now, and looking forward to it.
Is there anything unexpected you met going into, let's call it a spade, a football county, and did that add any challenges that you weren't expecting or weren't used to from Kilkenny, where it's hurling only?
Kilkenny's a big football county now.
Pull the other one now.
County final is over about two months ago there, I think. It was played on a Thursday night. No, look, I suppose there's always challenges. Yeah, look, it is something I haven't dealt with before. I suppose football is the number one sport in Kildare. You know, they probably have a priority to main pitches and stuff like that. But look, we're just trying to drive it on as much as we can, look after ourselves. The county board have been supportive to me since I've come in there. So look, just really need their backing now to drive it on. We feel we're in a good place at the moment. The players, it's a very good young squad. You know, the average age is, I think, 22, 23. We've a couple of players that weren't there last year that more than likely will be back next year coming. So look, this is the time now to really shine and cash in on it. Because if this generation don't perform or don't kind of do the business, Joe McDonagh is going to have negative effects down the line. So it's important that we really build on this now and drive it on for the next year or two.
How did you find the time demands in that, Brian? Bit of an eye opener, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but look, I suppose it wasn't much different to the camogie. It was similar, but I suppose the hardest time for me is when Kieran's College gets going. You know, you're playing matches, the Leinster games and the All Ireland series are on Saturdays, and you're playing with Kildare then Saturday and Sundays, and you're training. So you have different puck-out strategies and all the stuff going around your head. You don't know what's going on, whether it's Kieran's or Kildare half the time. But no, look, it's enjoyable, but it's just that couple of weeks, I suppose, I found very tough. It is, look, it's hugely demanding. There's a lot of pressure. We're expected to win the Christy Ring, but that brings on huge pressure. Like, if we didn't win it, I suppose it would have been looking at me, why didn't we win it? So there was, a lot of pressure to make sure we got over the line there. Look, it was an enjoyable year. There is a lot of pressure and a lot of work goes into intercounty management, but I suppose the way I looked at it was heavy going there for a few months, but it was finished the June bank holiday weekend. So this is the first summer now that I think I've ever had off between playing and managing. So I don't know what to do with myself.
Just the last one quickly. You brought a Tipperary man with you as well. A Kilkenny man bringing a Tipperary man up to Kildare.
Yeah, look, Richie Root, I suppose now we nearly call him a Kilkenny man now. He's so long. He's so long in Kilkenny at this stage. No, look, Richie is he's been working with me in Kieran's for the last number of years, and he's an excellent coach, really enthusiastic. I suppose, look, when I try and put my backroom team together, I was lucky enough that Nigel O'Hara stayed involved from the last 2 years. Nigel's an excellent coach. He's actually a Kilkenny man, but he's been living in Kildare now for a number of years, and David Herty had him involved for the last 2 years. He's top class. So, and Richie then came in. It's brilliant to get Richie involved because, I suppose when you're getting a coach involved, you don't really know what he's like. But I knew what I was getting with Richie, so I was delighted to bring him up with me. And Fikra Minacon then played for Kildare, so he kind of brings us back into, he's a Kildare man in the backroom team, so it's great to have him there as well.
And just in terms of your own minor moments, I just happened across this photo online here.
Oh,
I think this is back in 2001. What do you remember of playing minor, and just in general, any particular highlights?
There was no strength and conditioning back then anyway, I can definitely say that. Look, I absolutely loved it. I suppose I didn't love it in 2000 because we were on the first team that it was 10 in a row. Was it going for 10 in a row or going for 11 in a row? It was Leinster semi-final against Vernie's Offaly there down in Carlow. I was a sub the same night. I came on and I can't remember who got the goal. It could have been Rory Hannify could have got a goal. And Offaly went out to 10 points up, and I'll never forget the roar and it run onto the pitch. I said, oh, geez, this is going to be a disaster. And Offaly bet us by, I think, 8 points. and we're getting our medals with Kieran's college the same night, and Brian Carlow coming back, and he couldn't take the smile off his face back at the
Jesus
function.
Lord Christ.
It was absolutely sickening, so it made it all even worse. But
that was a root and branch. There was a root and branch analysis after that minor loss. Am I right in saying that? Yeah,
there was. Yeah, look, I suppose we would have heard things in the background afterwards that none of these lads will play for Kilkenny again, and the likes of Tommy Welsh and JJ Delaney, Aidan Fogarty, Conor Phelan, all these lads were playing that night. But no, they went back and looked at the development squads. They had to change things, and then the following year was my last year minor, and we were back down in Carlow again against Dublin. I guess this time against Dublin Leinster semi-final, and Dublin colleges had beaten us with Kieran's in Leinster semi-final just a few weeks before that. It was a massive shock, and I think Dr. Collins scored 1-3 in the first 5 minutes. We were losing. Oh, geez, we're getting bet here again. But we turned it around, and we got to Croke Park, the Leinster final we played before the senior match, and we bet Wexford. And then the All-Ireland semi-final that year, then we lost to Cork. I suppose if there was one game that I could go back and play again, that would be it. It's Tanto Halpine scored, I think, 3 goals that day. We actually ended up being a very good friend of him after in college, but he broke our hearts that day. We lost by a point, lost by 4 in the end, but it was draw going into injury time. It was absolutely heartbreaking. You just want to get to All-Ireland final day in Croke Park. That was the dream, and we didn't do it. But in fairness, there's a good few lads on the rage year after, and they went on and did back-to-back, like Cha and Richie Power and these lads, so I was delighted for them afterwards.
So what was Halpine like in terms of the crack?
He was mad, absolutely mad as a hatter. Didn't drink at all, but he'd be dancing around like he was the drunkest man in the place.
Probably like this lad here.
Yeah, like himself there. Yeah. No, look, he was a character. He was just absolute character. I hurled freshers with him there. He got sent off in a club game, and he missed the freshers final, and we lost to UCD in a freshers final because he was missing. But no, look, got to play Fitzgibbon, won Fitzgibbon with him, and then 2004, obviously, then he decided to go off to Aussie rules. Just all happened overnight, I suppose. But no, look, he was a top class hurler. I think that year in 2004. I think what he brought to the Munster Championship and the All-Ireland Series was 2003, was absolutely top class. I remember I was at that. I went down to that Munster final, the one where Milan scored the 3 goals, and was having a bit of crack with the lads and the behind the goal during the match. But Santana scored a goal that day, I remember, and that was the day the celebration started with the hands going down. So no, he was a breath of fresh air. He was a brilliant character.
Santa Claus is delivered again. Santa Claus famous line in Croke Park, I think, didn't he?
That was it. That was in the All-Ireland 2003 against Kilkenny. Yeah, he broke through, and James Riley done a great job on him, but he broke through that time. He got a goal, and yes, that was one of Sarah's line. Yeah, Santa Claus is delivered again.
Brian, would you have believed that like when Kilkenny last won the minor in 2014 against a Limerick team that has some of the modern greats of hurling, that we'd be waiting this long again before Kilkenny might win an All-Ireland at minor? No,
definitely not. I suppose Kilkenny were used to winning minors under 21s back in the day, and I suppose between now senior minor under 20, I know the under 20s won a couple of years ago, but look, silverware we haven't got as much as we would like in the last number of years, and I suppose 2014, if someone said you wouldn't win an All-Ireland, it would be a huge shock. But look, they have been getting to finals. That's the only thing, but they came across against a lot of good Galway, really good Galway teams. Look, it is important to win these things, but I think it's important to get there. I think this year's championship, the way it's structured now is brilliant because, back in the day, you might get one game in a Leinster semi-final and get beaten. Like, that's no kind of progression for a young lad. Where a lad now is playing 6 or 7 games in the championship, that's unbelievable experience. Whether you win or lose, that really helps the lad driving it forward. And they're very, very young as well. Well, the only thing I'd say I'd like to see different, I do think the finals should be in Croke Park. I think there should be something that they should do there. We're very lucky in the colleges. We're after getting to play in the colleges final the last 3 years, and there's some buzz there. I remember when I was playing minor, that was the dream. Like, if you get to Leinster final, you're playing in Croke Park. Like, that's what you wanted to do. I know the lads, they don't care where they're playing on Saturday night. Nolan Park would be an unbelievable occasion, but I do think I don't know when it should be before maybe an All-Ireland semi-final even, but I think it'd be a great experience for the lads that they're playing out in Croke Park.
And there's a comment there saying, what was the minor team in 2014, if I have it at hand? I just looked it up there. So
John Walsh was the man, didn't he?
John Walsh got man the match in the final. Yeah, he got 2-4, 2-5, I think.
Alan Murphy got 6 points. Is that Ronan Corker and Liam Blanchfield? Yeah, John Walsh with 2-5.
Sean Morrissey was on it, I think, was he?
He was. Dara Joyce was centre back. Pat Ling was there. Young Tommy Walsh. Connor Delaney. On the other side, then, and on the other side, it's a bit of a who's who in terms of like current county stars. Sean Finn is there, Keane Lynch, Seamus Flanagan, Tom Morrissey, Ronan Lynch was there, Barry Nash was full forward, Peter Casey, Barry Murphy, who's still on the panel. Jesus.
That Limerick team really came to nothing, didn't it, after it?
Christ almighty. And like, I don't know, Brian, how much of a chance you've had to see this Tipperary team coming into this minor final, and maybe Richie Root of Thurles would have spoken to you about Killian Minogue and maybe Ewan Murray and some of the talents they have coming. But if you've had a chance to look at the Tip team, where would you be concerned in terms of the Premier?
No, I haven't been much, I suppose. I suppose when you're involved in inter-county, you're watching so many matches back. I haven't really been looking at too many. I've seen a bit of the All-Ireland semi-final, that was all I saw. But I did see Ewan Murray play. We played him Thurles CBS in a challenge game there earlier on in the year, and we watched him in some of the hearty games. He's definitely a top-class talent. I know he plays kind of the centre-forward, Keane Lynch kind of role. He drops deep and gets on a lot of balls. So Kilkenny are definitely going to have to match up him. Look, from what I've seen and what I've heard, the highlights Tip, they're a very well-organised team. I know James Woodlock's a good manager. Conor Foxy O'Brien there, he's another good friend of mine. He's an excellent lad to be involved in the team. I'm sure he's driving them on there in the background. So, look, in fairness to the lads, to get to 2 All-Irelands in 3 years is fair going as well. I'm sure they'll be looking for the same result as they had 2 years ago. Bernie won't forget that game. But, they're a good team. And, look, it was minor. The big thing for the minors at this age is, are they going to turn up and perform? That's the big thing. When you're involved in the team, managers, I suppose, you can have everything set up, but big occasion, you just want your players to turn up and perform. And they're just, some of them are so young, like Jake Mullen is still underage next year, and he's been talked about like he's a top class hurler. But like he's been talked about as the main man. Like that's just a lot of pressure on him.
Just there is talk, Brian, that this is your best crew in maybe 20 years at minor level. I know it's a good bit of pressure on their shoulders or whatever, but remember that 02-03 crop was savage. Like Jesus, it was a Richie to mention, but a few there's similar kind of talk around this team, and even that this is coming even a year or two soon.
Yeah, I think next year's team would have been fancied a lot. I think I said this year the big thing was to win the Leinster. That was massive, and I suppose once they won that, then they seemed to perform really well against Galway in the 2 games in Leinster. And obviously against Dublin they lost against Wexford, but they scraped over the line in the Leinster final. The 2 Galway performances were excellent, and I think apart from the start, the last day against Clare, I thought they were the better team. I know the sending off probably did affect Clare as well, but no, look, it is a really good team. I said I know a few of the lads from school, and we're badly in need of a Richie Hogan, a TJ Reid, a Richie Power, one of these kind of superstar forwards breaking through. And I think we have 1 or 2 of them. I think Collier O'Donovan's a top class little corner forward there. Unfortunately, he's in the Kilkenny CBS, but he's an excellent player. And Jake Mullen, obviously, we have him in Kieran's. He's excellent as well. I remember I only seen him this year for the first time playing in a game in Kieran's in junior hurling, and I looked out and I actually thought it was Adrian Mullen playing there for a minute. He's just he's a carbon copy of everything he does. But look, he's a great young lad. He's top class, and I think he definitely has a great future. But a few of them will, and there's a few lads there that work really, really hard, and a few lads maybe aren't the shining stars now, but as you all know, they'll be the lads that will play for Kilkenny in a few years' time. That's just the way it goes.
And as soon as you mentioned a couple of the stars that are there at the moment in TJ Reid and so on, where do you feel Kilkenny are at coming into the All-Ireland semi-final? And, from what you've seen of Clare, specifically the last day against Wexford, where do you think they're at?
Yeah, look, I suppose the hardest thing for Kilkenny against Clare is that Kilkenny have beaten Clare twice the last 2 games, and Clare probably favourites going into both of them. Obviously, 2 years ago, they never turned up at all. Last year, I suppose they got their tactics wrong. They played a sweeper, played in Kilkenny's hand, and when the second half, when they went at Kilkenny, they really had Kilkenny in trouble, only for that sharp hook out that we overturned and Nolan Cody got the goal. Look, again, I think Kilkenny have a great chance, but Clare are a good team. If Clare turn up, it's going to be a really, really tight game. I don't think they're at their best against Wexford, but I think that game was just to win that game, get through it. Tony Kelly getting 5 points in play. I think putting a midfield is a masterstroke. I think that's the right thing to do for Clare. Mikey Butler probably doesn't come out to midfield to follow him. I think last year it suited him to go out there because Kilkenny had Richie Reid sitting back anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But I don't think you're going to take Mikey from corner back out to midfield to mark Tony Kelly. So look, I think Tony will be happy now that Mikey is not there around him in Croke Park. I think he'll have a bit more freedom. So Kilkenny really have to come up with what to do there. But look, Shane O'Donnell, I think, is obviously, you know, he's definitely hurler of the year so far. The form he's in, he's just absolutely top class. Well, Kilkenny, I suppose, it's hard to know where we're at, because you look back at the Carlow performance, the Dublin performance up in Parnell Park, like, they weren't good. But, you know, against Dublin in Croke Park, you know, Dublin didn't turn up that day, but Kilkenny are absolutely top class in everything they did. The work rate, everything they were doing that day. They're definitely trying to play a bit different. They're working the ball out. There's players dropping back for puckouts now that never happened before. You can see different things happening. So, look, I'll give Kilkenny every chance. You know, I think anytime we think Kilkenny are going to get bet, they all turn up and win. So, look, it'll be a great game again, I think.
Their graph is trending upwards, Brian, a bit, isn't it? Like, with the way, like, they have everybody nearly back now. I know Donnelly's probably carrying a knock, but it looks like he's just going to play on with that thumb knock that he has. Mikey Carey's probably the only doubt. But, like, Leinster was stuttering a small bit. Big performance in the final. You won't be expecting a big semi-final performance again.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, I was listening to your own podcast there during the week. You know, in fairness, John Milan, Eddie Brennan said it, and it's 100% right that every Kilkenny and Limerick are the two teams that just turn up every single day. Like, and you know, I know Kilkenny will turn up. Whether performance is good enough, I don't know. Like, there's days when Kilkenny teams probably haven't been the best team, but they always turn up. And you know, Derek, in fairness, has brought that on from Brian Cody, that these Kilkenny teams fight to the end. Even I was at the league final, and I thought Clare were by far the better team. But Kilkenny nearly won that game. If Owen Cody's penalty goes in, Kilkenny would have won the game. You know, see Conlon coming in there, timing the run. You have to time the run, you know, and that's probably what Kilkenny have done. And they have had a lot of injuries, as you said. You know, you see how effective Adrian Mullen was the last day. He was absolutely unbelievable. I'd love to have seen his GPS results after that game. He was collecting the ball in the full back line, and then 60 seconds later, he's popping the pint over from 60 yards at the other end of the pitch. So he's very hard to stop. You know, you go man for man on him, you know, you're leaving massive space. So I don't think Clare are going to leave a player +1 this time. I think they're going to go at Kilkenny. I think they'll learn from their mistakes. They'll go at them. You know, they have top class forwards as well. So I think it'll be a high scoring game. I think it'll be an absolute cracker.
And do you think Cork have another big enough performance to beat Limerick a second time?
I was on this podcast before, and I tipped Cork to win the All Ireland. Now that didn't go too well, so
we've all been there, Brian. We've all been there.
So I don't know what to say about Cork. Look, geez, we all saw what they did down in Páirc Uí Chaoimh that night. They were absolutely top class. But I suppose even how good they were that night against Limerick, like, you know, what did they concede that night? You know, that's always the worry for Cork, is what are they conceding? You know, I suppose the worst team that you can beat in a championship and have to meet them again is Limerick. You know, at times it's hard enough. Even Paul Kinerick and John Kiley would ever do in that 15-minute slot. They're able to fix things. They've had 4 weeks or whatever it was since that Cork game to look at things. They're going to look exactly, and they're going to know, like, if Cork are going to pump high ball down the middle and try to beat them with puckouts and stuff like that, like, Limerick are going to have that sussed out. Like, you know, they're just, I've never seen a team like them, the way they can react to different teams and the way they're able to change it. Go back to last year's All-Ireland semi-final against Galway, and Galway had him on the rack and they were playing him off the pitch, and Limerick just tweaked a couple of things, and, you know, next minute they're on Galway are on the back foot and they couldn't turn it around. So look, you can't back against Limerick. I think Cork are going to have an absolutely massive game. It's going to have to be a shootout. I don't think they're going to win a tight game, because I don't think the Cork backs are good enough, but they have good enough forwards. Darragh Fitzgibbon bursting through from midfield. So look, I'll give them every chance, but look, obviously you'd have to favour Limerick. They're just so good. You know, if Darragh Donovan is back there as well, Shamie Flanagan coming back, like, you're talking about Kilkenny being full strength, they have full strength. Like, who do they leave off the team? Like, you know, does Shane O'Brien lose out after getting man the match the last day? You know, it's Colin O'Neill's in top class form, so they've Bagger Richards there at the moment, and they're unbelievable.
You're talking about time in the run. They've everyone back now, nearly, outside of Peter Casey. They're going to have everyone back for the games that they need to have them back. I don't know if you heard, you were saying about them reacting there. Shane O'Donnell had a good quote during the week, basically saying that Limerick have all the cameras, and if you can see see what people are saying or what changes they were making, and it's like, I don't know if he was hinting at some sort of conspiracy theory going on or something, but Jamie Mack, that must be the 53-man backroom team that I think was talked about.
Davy Fitz was on about that there last year after the All-Ireland final as well. He was sitting up and he was saying something about the cameras and how unreal it was, and Limerick had the cameras up there and they had access to them, so he was kind of saying that a bird's eye view. So whether there's someone up there and they're looking down at it and passing the information on to Paul Kinerick, John Kelly. Look, as a manager, I'd love to be up there myself and get to see everything, but you know, I think I have to be on the sideline anyway. But I definitely think you need someone from your backroom team has to sit up there, and I think, you know, up around, you know, where the cameras are. you get to see absolutely everything. But Limerick they hurt you in so many ways. They can go, they can hit the ball direct, they can work to the lines. If you're hitting puck outs, if you go long, you're hitting down to the half back line. They're just catching ball. If you go short and you have that the full forward line, the just way to close you down is unbelievable. Like, to just swarm you. And if they close you down 2 or 3 times, what's your keeper going to do? He's going to go long. I think that's where Clare faltered in the Munster final. They just kept going long the last time. Peter Duggan was probably the only option. So Limerick knew that was coming from the first day they met down in Ennis, and they just swarmed them, got bodies around. Cork probably made a few errors the last day against them as well and went short. You have to, I know there's people in the stand giving out to lads are going sharp, but you have to be able to do both, and Limerick can do both so well, and they're able to stop both so well. So I don't know, Limerick just have to have an off day, but the hunger that they have is just unbelievable.
What will be fascinating as well is to see the amount of joy that Cork got off the long ball, but they've basically wised Limerick up to that fact now, and I think Limerick have gone after that, and that we're not going to be penetrated in the half back line. So Cork got loads of joy off that the last day. There has to be an alternative, and probably another alternative after that, because they can't just put, like, Limerick are forewarned for that one. So it's going to be interesting to see from a Cork tactical point of view what way they'll have to find another way to skin a cat this on Sunday week, I'd imagine.
Yeah, like, again, you can't go and do the same thing. You're going to have something different. I suppose, in fairness to Cork, they couldn't hold back anything the last day because, obviously they had to win that game no matter what. And that puck out definitely won that game for them. They got some joy off it, and I was watching that match back, again on video, and it's just the way their movement off waiting for that breaking ball, the Cork, was unbelievable. But look, they're going to have to come up with something different, but Cork will be ready as well for that. Limerick will be ready for that, as I said, with their forwards. If you go short, they will hound you down, and they will get turnovers. No better team to get turnovers than them. So I suppose Cork, one way around it maybe is get their half forward line a little bit deeper and try to create space in front and try and drag that half back line all over the place. Dermot Burns and Kyle Hayes, they want high ball coming down top of them. I'm sure they don't want to be following lads around Croke Park. Cork have the pace to get around, so they're going to have to try to come up with something different, maybe overload different sides and things like that. But it's been an interesting battle ahead.
Brian, when you're managing on the sideline, what do you find the biggest challenge? Or obviously you can't get the Maor Foirne in the way you used to be able to before, so that's one thing that adds to it. But like, in terms of trying to change a game mid-flow, you've got 30 players out there all doing something. It's very hard. Like in soccer, you've got maybe, I think the structure of even having offside makes it a little bit easier to tweak things, and the formations are a little bit more settled than you have in hurling. Like, what do you find the biggest challenge in terms of trying to change things?
Yeah, like you said there, any match in Croke Park, anyway, it's absolutely impossible. I can't understand how the Maor Foirne has not brought back into it. You should be allowed to bring on, get 3 messages on or whatever, and that's it. And if anyone, takes the mick out of it, then that's it, they're gone. You get banned for the next match or something. I know Gregory Kennedy there catching that ball down Nolan Park 2 years ago, it didn't help things, but it is so hard to get messages in. Like, even the Christy Ring final, we were trying to make a swap from one corner back to move on to another forward, and it took like 4 or 5 minutes, and you're shouting at other players to get that message in. And then and then lads are getting the wrong. Like, I think it was in the Colleges All Ireland final. We're trying to get a message in, and one of the lads started shouting the messages. We're playing a sweeper, and we weren't trying to play a sweeper. We were trying to get someone to push up, and we ended up playing a sweeper for 5 minutes in the first half, and we didn't do it all year. And that was the message that went in, and we had to wait till half time to change it. It's so hard. You just feel so helpless. But then again, look, that's where I suppose you have to have your team as prepared as possible. You have to have leaders on the pitch that they can kind of look at things. If you do have puck out strategies and they're not working, you have to have your plan B and stuff like that. I know Davy Fitz has up to plan Z, but I wouldn't be going that far. But, you need to have your plans, a couple of plans in place. Players need to be comfortable with them, be able to change on the pitch. Even I kind of would say to a couple of players, just, if you are around the manager's zone, whatever, just come over to us and try and we pass on the message, make sure that message gets on to everybody. You're not allowed to have your hurl carriers mic'd up at the other side of the pitch. That used to help. You could get message in. You can't do that now either. So
Apple Watches, Brian, I believe.
Apple Watches, yeah. I must get on to Kildare County Board to buy a few Apple Watches. I'm sure they'll be delighted with that.
and then another thing, like, the way you feel like, okay, we need to push up on the opposition, because more and more teams are really good at working the ball around the middle area, popping the hand passes and all that kind of stuff. But then if you do push up, sometimes you're leaving 1v1 inside 30, 35 yards of your own goal. And you're like, if the right ball goes in here, you're kind of throwing a lad to the wolves. So that's another really, really tough thing, Brian, because you're like, we have to just hope that guy can survive back there, or that we slow up the ball coming in. That's a really tough one too.
Yeah, and I learned that the hard way last year in the league against Cork camogie. Like Cork are the best camogie team at working the ball out, and they're very good at going short. And when they get the ball, they're brilliant at getting overloads, and they'll have players coming off the shoulder. And we were playing them in the league in Nolan Park last year, and we were back from a team holiday a couple of weeks, and we probably weren't at the fitness levels we should have been at that stage. So I suppose we said we'd push up on them so that they didn't get the opportunity to run at us. But they were very clever then. They dropped their half forward line really deep, and they just kept making angle runs, and we got absolutely cleaned out. That's why you hear people when I hear people saying just push up on them. Like, it's not as simple as just push up on them. Like, that's great in theory, but if any team is well coached, they'll absolutely annihilate you at the other end. Like, if you push up on Limerick, their half forward line, you've seen what happened in the All-Ireland 2 years ago, Kilkenny. And I think Kilkenny had planned for that players were going to stay on either side of the wing, but they just got confused and ended up following their old Hegarty, Tom Morrissey, Kyle Hayes up there that day, and they just ran everywhere. And you can't, in Croke Park of all places, you can't cut down that space. If you're leaving space, if you start deep on the 45 and you leave 40 yards in front of you, you're going to clean the opposition. So that's where, I suppose you see a lot of teams now are getting the full forward line dropping out and letting the corner back have it, and then you have an extra body maybe back in the half back line. That's probably the best way to defend it. But again, if a good team is able to work it out, that's it. But I suppose if a team gets 1 point, you have the outlet in the stand going absolutely mental, saying to push up, not even though the last 10 you might have broke down, but ignores all them. So, look, it's to get the balance right. Depends who you're playing. If a team that has speed like Cork do even as well, it's very hard to defend that 1v1, and as you said, on that 45, 65 yard line.
I mean, you live and die by these decisions, because if it goes wrong once, okay, it can happen. But if it goes wrong a couple of times, then Brian, you are the ape, and how was he ever let in here in the first place?
That's exactly it, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's funny, you see one or two, and even as manager, like, you might see one ball going to corner back, and he might do something with it and end up in the score, but like the other 10, you might have got turnovers on your 65. And you'll have stats saying that you got beaten on 15 sharp puckouts, but where did them sharp puckouts go? Did you overturn them on your own 65? Did the opposition, did it break down in the middle of the field? So I think it does, I think you have to look at the outcome from the puckouts, what's actually happening. If a team is going long, are they damaging going long, or damaging going short? And you have to try and force them to do what they're not good at. Like, if you have a good, strong half back line in the air, and the goalkeeper is not able to pinpoint the ball, which some of them can't, well, then you can push up a bit tighter and force them long. Again, you have to, suppose Galway camogie would be a good example of that. Sarah Healy had an unbelievable puck out, so we would have wanted her to go short and get to a corner back who didn't have as long a puck out. Sarah Healy puck out used to go nearly on the 21 with a bit of wind, with a strong wind. So I suppose, again, you have to play the cards you're dealt with, and the opposition, you have to alter to that as well.
Do you get much of a chance to watch the Kilkenny camogie team anymore? They're playing Tip this weekend. Again, you have Nolan Park. You have it off to a tee.
No, that's up in the rag.
All right.
Yeah, no, you have that one, yeah.
Is that not a bit of a mad one? Yeah, like, it's close enough in times, are they, as well?
They are. Now, in fairness, the only thing I'd say is, like, that fixture would have been in place for a long time. So Limerick Tip have home advantage. So Tip would have to give up home advantage, and it's a massive game, because whoever wins is guaranteed an All-Ireland semi-final spot. Whoever loses is into the quarterfinal. So it's a massive game. So in fairness, like, you'd be asking Tip to give up home advantage, and that's the reason why. If it was a neutral venue, obviously, then it should have been in Nolan Park, or if it had to be Possible, but it wasn't. It was, that fixture was there. But back to answer your question, no, because of Kildare, I suppose the matches have just clashed all the time. I was only at one game. It was the league game against against Tip in Nolan Park. I just kind of find it hard to watch it anyway. I'm following everything, but just find it very, very hard to watch. I spoke to a few managers who are kind of similar position a year out. I just find that first year very, very tough. You're coming being so involved, and it's your whole life, and now you're not involved at all. You don't know what's going on. You're looking to see what the teams are, who's playing where, what's kind of going on. But I suppose I'm just trying to taking a step backwards from it. Obviously I'm following and wishing the Peter Clear and all the players the best of luck, but just trying to follow them hopefully to do well. You know, if they get to, I suppose, quarter-final, semi-final, final, I'd definitely be there. But for now, just taking a step back. And it just with matches, with, you know, we were nearly playing the same days, nearly all the time has gone. Like some of our matches were up and down and up in Tyrone and in London, so we were gone for all weekend. So, you know, I just didn't get a chance to go, I suppose.
Hey, you've been very busy the last couple of days by all accounts yourself, have you?
Well, yeah. I was doing a lot of running the last month. I didn't get it all done the last couple of days. So, I just took on a challenge there. Another teacher in Kieran, Richie Windle, too, decided to do it for Laura Lynn Foundation. You know, I think it's nothing personal to me. Thank God I don't have my own kids or nobody around me is going through it. But, you know, there is families going through it. It's for anybody, kids that have cancer or palliative care. So it's somewhere to go, you know, for them when they're really, really sick. So look, it was just to run 50 miles, 80k in the month of June. I suppose got into running the last year. Wouldn't have been a big fan of it up to then, but, you know, trying to do it during lunchtime at school and stuff like that. So, no, I've been doing it for the last month and it was a very worthy cause. So look, delighted to get it done there yesterday. I'm going to Berlin for the weekend. So, over to the soccer match tomorrow. So I thought it was important to get it done because I don't think I'll get it done over there. So, no, look, delighted to get it done and delighted that raised, you know, I think we raised over 3,200 there now. So it's going to a very worthy cause.
You won't be doing it in Berlin. You'll jump on a scooter over there. I met scootering around Berlin one time. This is great crack, though, I have to say.
Jeez, I think I'll stay off them Yorks now. I think I'll be walking around and getting a few taxis, that's it.
Which game are you going to?
Switzerland and Italy now, if I can get tickets for it. So
it's not so bad. Have you been watching much of the Euros?
Yeah, watching it all. Love it now because, you know, again, I suppose when you're involved with teams, you just don't get to watch these other sports. And even, I suppose, when I'm involved with teams, I'm so distracted that I feel guilty watching a soccer match. I'd feel like, okay, I need to be doing something for hurling. I need to be watching the match, or I need to be doing something for training. I need to be talking to a player. So now we can just watch and enjoy it. You know, I've loved watching the hurling and stuff in the last couple of weeks as well. No, really enjoying the matches. I think the last couple probably, you know, haven't been great. Some of the England matches here have been desperate, but no, it's exciting. I think it'll be good now between now and the knockout rounds from here on in. Starting probably missing out tonight and tomorrow, but looking forward to the matches on Saturday and you know, the rest of the tournament then.
Okay, well, Brian, you've been brilliant with your time. Really, really appreciate it. And fair play on that Laura Lynn stuff as well, because that's really important. Well done.
Yeah, no matter. Thanks a million, lads.
Cheers, Brian.